Kiss my ass. These are the last words of an infamous serial killer and rapist, John Wayne Gacy. He's known as the Killer Clown and is charged with the assault and murder of at least 39 young men. In my opinion, no offender should be given the opportunity to reoffend 40 times. They should be stopped after assault number 1. 12 to 24 of child sex offenders that are arrested and rehabilitated will re-offend, and those figures are low because sex offenses are often not reported. Not everyone has a child, but everyone knows a child that they want to protect. A niece, nephew, friend's child, cousin, or younger sibling. This right here on this PowerPoint is my child. And a lot of my opinions on this topic stem from my child and my desire to protect her. And maybe your desire comes from wanting to protect kids because no one was there to protect you when you were a kid. Let's go on to talk about it. The federal law should allow for the death penalty to be the punishment for offenses against children. Child offenders are the most heinous and cowardly of our society. They prey on children because they're easily overpowered and intimidated into compliance. They take advantage of their innocence and vulnerability, luring them with innocent things like candy, kittens, and puppies. Many people feel the righteous action for an offense against a child should be murder, and plenty have attempted to do what the law does not allow. When given punishment, remediation, offenders choose not to change. So why do we waste our time and money and resources on these people? The monsters that do end up being rehabilitated and released go on to reoffend or brag about a near brush with corrective action. Many people believe the righteous act for an offense against a child is murder, and that's why people will personally attack perpetrators who have victimized someone in their family. In the most recent news, Cain Velasquez made headlines as an MMA vigilante. The pro athlete was arrested for the attempted murder of a child offender who molested a close family member of Cain, someone who was a child. Many people protested his arrest, deeming it an appropriate reaction that anyone would have. The hashtag #FreeThatMan has been trending in response to his arrest. Maria Carmen Garcia poured gasoline and lit on fire the man who raped her 13-year-old daughter at knife point. 7 years prior, she happened to brush paths with the man in a bar, and he had the gall and audacity to look at this woman and ask her, "So, how's your daughter?" She went out, bought a can of gasoline, came back with some matches, lit him on fire. She was released after only 1 year and 10 days into her 10-year sentence due to the 5,000 signatures on a petition in support to have her pardoned. And lastly, we're going to talk about Ellie Nestler. She shot and killed Daniel Mark Driver in a courtroom, who was accused of sodomizing her young son at a Christian summer camp back in the summer of 1988. Immediately following this incident, the public boomed with merchandise with the quote, "Nice shot, Ellie," with bumper stickers on it. They were everywhere. Every car had one. Now we're going to talk about why the people who commit these crimes cannot be rehabilitated. A 9-year study found that released sex offenders were 3 times more likely to be rearrested for rape or sexual assault. Sex offenses toward children are the most common crime committed against children. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, most offenders incarcerated for crimes against juvenile were sex offenders. 71% of people who have committed a crime against a child committed a sex offense. Pedophilia is one of the few psychiatric disorders that is characterized by criminal behavior. Unfortunately, pedophilia remains difficult to treat, and relapse is a continual problem. This is a quote from a study done by Snyder in 2000. According to our Department of Justice, the annual cost of holding a prisoner that has committed a crime against a child is $26,000 annually per person. Now, that is opposed to states that have an intermediate release program. When the prisons are overcrowded, they need to release people. They choose not to release the violent offenders. They choose instead to release sex offenders. and they house them in a middle house because they're not ready to be released to the general population. Now, these rehabilitation treatment centers cost over $100,000 annually per person. That is so expensive for someone who has a statistical likelihood of repeating the offense. Only 1 in 4 rapes are ever reported. That leaves 75% unreported by adults and children. Now, children rely on adults that they trust to report a crime against them. So, only 12% of children will go to an adult and say, hey, this happened to me. And of those 12% that report to a trusted adult, only 1% are ever followed up with a police report. The DeLisi study in 2020 found that 216 sex offenders, 73.8% admitted to previous sexual abuse, meaning that they had victims that were never known about to the system, that they never got charged for, and that have gone completely under the radar. One offender reported 25 victims under polygraph. 6 states in the United Military have enacted capital punishment as the sentence for rape of a child. And since the enactment of that law in these states, it's only been used 2 times. I would say that works. In a court case, Georgia v. Coker, the defendant was in prison serving time for the kidnap, rape, aggravated assault, and murder of 2, not 1, but 2 women. He was already a repeat offender when he was in jail. He then escaped from the prison, and in the process of committing grand theft auto, he again assaulted and raped a woman. The first chance he got, he reoffended. What would you do if this was your child? This little girl on the screen right here, this is my child. Would you want their attacker to serve some time for a minor offense and then be released back to the public to reoffend? Or would you want to take away the option for them to reoffend by changing the federal law to enact capital punishment as a sentence for such a heinous crime? This is my kid, and I know what I would want if she was ever hurt. But think about it long and hard. What would you want if it was your kid? The future of what happens to them depends on you.